It's now time for the Weekly with News 6 morning anchor Justin Warmoth.
This is the Weekly on clickorlando.com with Justin Warmoth.
It's been almost 1 month since the deadly school shooting in Parkland.
This is catastrophic.
And since then, the debate over gun control and school safety has been heated.
You have the power to change this. And if you don't, then we will change you.
This morning, 4 mothers with a total of 14 children in Orange County schools lay out their grassroots effort to make schools safer.
It's incredible to think, will I be able to see my child ever again?
But some have different ideas, including Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood.
It's not a matter of if there's going to be another school shooting, it's a matter of when and where.
Good morning and welcome to the Weekly. I'm Justin Warmoth. From the national to the local level, school safety has been a hotly debated topic over the last month. On clickorlando.com, we have covered every development in the wake of the school shooting in Parkland, from lawmakers debating in Tallahassee to local sheriffs laying out their own plans to improve security in schools. This morning, you're going to hear from a group of 4 mothers whose ideas to make Orange County schools safer stop short of arming teachers. But first, I sit down with Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood to hear why he believes arming some teachers is the best way to stop active shooters. And Sheriff Chitwood, thank you so much for being here this morning. So first off, we're not talking about all teachers being armed here, but how would you get a teacher, a coach, an administrator ready to take on an active shooter? Yeah,
we're not looking to arm a 23-year-old math teacher. What we would first look at is, do I have any ex-law enforcement in Volusia County schools, which I do. Right off the top of my head, I have one gentleman who teaches at University High School. He's a reserve deputy. That means he works for me when he's not teaching. He's fully certified, ready to go. So we would look at those folks first. The second group of people that we would look at is current and former military personnel, and then lastly would be the concealed weapons permit holders. Completely voluntary. With the help of the school board, if we ever got this far, we would screen everyone who applied. Then we would put them through training, and that's the most important thing. Is psychological, psychologically, can they handle this, and then emotionally, can they do it, and then this is the last line of defense, and then put them through several hundred hours of training so they understand what the use of force is all about and all they're there for. They're not there to break up fights. They're not there to make arrests. God forbid they're the last line of defense. Should an armed gunman come on campus, they're there to deal with that.
When we're talking about the training, how would this compare to what your deputies go through to get to be deputized? How would this compare to that?
Yeah, it would be just as intense. Obviously, they wouldn't have to do report writing and emergency vehicle operations, but they would train really hard and intelligently to learn how to stop an active threat if it came on campus. And this is not in any way a panacea that arming teachers is going to end this threat. Obviously we need to put money into mental health. Obviously we need to put money into school hardening of the schools, and obviously we need to put more school resource officers out there. But you have to remember that these attacks that come, these folks are motivated. They're going to get their hands on a gun or a knife. They're going to get their hands on it because they want to make history. And where do they go? They go to soft targets. Soft targets are schools and churches because they know they're not going to shoot back.
You have 77 schools in Volusia County. How many resource officers do you have?
15. I would like to see us do a 1/2 cent or a 1/4 cent sales tax, see what kind of revenue that generates, and have the school take a big portion of that to target harden their schools with cameras and fencing and metal detectors, and then the other part of that, be able to put a school resource officer on every campus. While we're having this big debate about arming teachers or gun control, that's something that can be done now. That's something that could be quick as November of this year. It could be on the ballot, and we can get moving, because it's not a matter of if there's going to be another school shooting, it's a matter of when and where. It's going to happen.
I want to now switch to the size of campuses, specifically high schools. They're not very small. Let's be honest here. So if the school resource officer is on one side of the campus and there's a shooting happening on the other side of the campus, that is a long haul to get there, and those precious seconds could be kids' teachers' lives. Is that one of the reasons why you'd like to have more guns in schools?
Yeah, let's use University High School for an example. University High School has over 4,400 students in it. It's 2 levels high, and the campus is easily a 1/4 mile in length. So the point that you just made, if the deputy is in outstanding shape and can run an 8-minute mile, and he knows exactly where that person is. It's going to take him at least 2 minutes to get there. And by that time, the things are over in 4 minutes. Anywhere between 2 to 4 to 5 minutes, that shooting's over. So that's the idea behind this. If you have 3 or 4 teachers on campus, and on top of the school resource officer or 2 school resource officers, now I think we're in pretty good shape to put a threat down, because what happens normally is if law enforcement shows up, their fantasy is destroyed. The idea of going out and killing and being the most prolific school shooter, it's out the door now because the cops are there. So normally they kill themselves, is what happens. So that's why it's so important to get uniforms in there and get them in there quickly.
Are there cons to this plan to have more guns in schools? What
there's always a con, and I get it. You know, my daughter is a 3rd grade teacher. She is the last. I wouldn't give her a water pistol, let alone arm her. But I also know that she has co-teachers that she teaches with who are former police officers, who are military folks, and I would be very comfortable knowing that after they went through a series of screenings, that there was a weapon on campus that, God forbid, if an attack came out, that they would be able to put that attack down.
Where would they put that weapon? Where would they keep it?
It doesn't do them any good if it's not on them.
Right.
It doesn't do them any good if it's not on them.
Okay.
I mean, you could talk about locking it up and using a fingerprint to open the safe, but these things are so dynamic and so fast that you have to have it on you. You would have to, and you concealed weapon permits holders. All the teachers that I speak to, they're scared to death to step out of the box and say, hey, this is a good idea, because they will get beaten down and they'll be ostracized. But they come to me in private and they'll say, hey, this is a great idea. I'm a concealed weapons permit holder now, and I think it's ridiculous that I can't bring my gun. I can't drive to school with my gun. I have to leave it home. But yet after school, if I'm going to go food shopping or do whatever, I have to drive home and get my gun.
The pushback has been strong, mostly from the teachers union, the school board. That's expected?
Sure. Sure. I mean, it's a new idea, and it may not be a great idea. I mean, I'm open for anything, but I do think the thing that we could all agree on here is we need to put more money in the school system for security, and we need to have school resources in every school. And I think there's the common ground, and then we could argue about everything else later on.
I want to switch now to the increased amount of threats that schools in Volusia County specifically are getting since the Parkland shooting. But you've implemented a new plan to try and curb this. What is that?
Basically, what we're doing, we have 0 tolerance. You know, you tell your bus driver, I got a gun in my backpack and I'm going to go put a bullet in the principal's head, you're getting locked up. But what we're doing is we are charging a felony, so the kid's getting hit with a felony in the 2nd degree, and we are charging them for the cost of the investigation. So if I have to roll the bomb squad out because somebody thinks it's a joke to put a backpack with wires and batteries out there and phone in a bomb threat, that may be a $6,000 response. Well, when we take that person to court, we're asking the judge that they pay restitution back. The minimal response of a deputy in Volusia County is $1,082.
Have they admitted to the reasoning behind making threats against their school? Is
They
it
all
trying
say
to be
it's
cool?
a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. At first, we were publishing their names in the newspaper. And then it was like, hold on here, I'm making celebrities out of these kids, we need to stop this. And then it was, you know, what we're doing is, when we sit down, after we make the arrest, we sit down with the state attorney's office and my juvenile justice coordinator, and we try to break the kids out. Now, I have a kid in Deltona who is a certified blood member. He has pictured himself on the internet posing with firearms, and he talked about shooting up the school. He's going to be treated a lot different than a kid who stands up and has an emotional outburst, who we're going to try to divert out of the system and get them the help that they need.
How much is social media to blame?
Everything is social media. I mean, and in today's climate, what I keep hammering home to parents is, take 5 minutes, sit your son or daughter down, explain to them what's going on in the world today. And we have to investigate every single threat as if it were real. And unfortunately, if it's a hoax, we're locking you up.
And at last check, Volusia County has arrested 18 students for making threats against schools. Still ahead, 4 mothers who have a total of 14 children in Orange County Public Schools detail their grassroots effort to make schools safer without having more guns in the classroom.